Okay, what's up guys, this is EB. So what's happening is that I found a system where I can now easily make models. It's going to be useful for the upcoming projects. The models won't be 100% perfect, and I don't need them to be cause of size issues, and the game itself will be a HTML game which will be played online, but there's some ways I'll go around it. But meanwhile, drew the images of the models. They were standing in a T-pose. This helps with rigging. Then after drawing the pictures, I made the 3D model using Meshi. 3D Meshi, just google meshiai.com. So what it does, it converts it into a 3D model. This is how it looks like. It's not too bad. I'll work with it. Then next, what I'm going to do is I dropped the file in Mixamo, which now I'm going to rig it. So you put the chin to the chin, and then the wrist to the wrist, and the elbows to the elbows, and then I think this one needs to be a bit further away. No, there is fine. The knees to the knees, knees nuts. No, I'm joking guys. So, and then from here the groin will be somewhere around here, I think, somewhere there. Now there's a very important thing I want to say here. There's a comment I got about the way the height of the leg operates. There's a reason why I keep the legs short. It's because when you sit down, this thing cannot rig sitting down motions. It has a very big problem. So what I just usually do, I just remove that problem by making the legs short. So once you've set all the markers, you just press next. So what you do, use symmetry is fine. Skeleton, it will choose all the fingers you want, whether you want standard, 3, 2 or no fingers. I usually do no fingers when I do weapons, but since I will need the fingers to be mobile, I'll now say next. So what it will do, it will rig the thing. Now rigging was the hardest thing when we used to do rigging in college. Till today I don't think I've ever rigged a full animal, full model, simply because it takes a lot of time and effort. But it's not impossible, it just needs a lot of patience, something which I don't have, especially if I have automated systems like this. So yeah, hopefully it will work. It might have an issue because of the bow, but I can see it's taking a bit long, so it must have bypassed the bow. Just hope that the parts which you're rigging are within the body, not too far out. When it's too far out, it brings errors. So the model is not perfect, but when you put it on constant material, it's going to look much better, and that's what I need it for in the game, because constant will cut out the issue of lighting, and it will cut out the issue of reflection, refraction, gloss, and every other issue which engines have with and shadows. I'll explain that later. Okay, so it's done rigging. I'm worried about the dress, but it's fine. So what I need to do now, so what's happening is she's got this pose going on. I'd prefer her to stand up, her legs to be much closer. So what I'll do, I'll just use, because this was a dude's pose and there's no female, so let me just do female idol. Female idol pose, because I don't find that pose flattering. So this is fine. So this looks interesting. like a ninja. Let's put her standing. Okay, it's fine. I'm fine with this. So we're going to download this. It will be skinned, and then now the thing is this: my viewer or my game engine, just save it in a normal place. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. I don't know where I saved it. Is it in the default downloads folder? Fine, so it's in the default downloads folder. So I have this viewer here. Let's download it. Reload animation. Oh, it loaded. So what's happening is that I noticed that models which come from Asia, so in PMD files, MMD files, PMX files, they have very big problems loading in other engines for that use FBX files. So in short, what I'm saying is there are two types of FBX files, from the east and from the west. From the east, we have, what I mean by FBX models, I mean converted in FBX models. Like if I took a PMD file made for Miku Miku Dance, like the ones by the video games that are there, convert it to an FBX, it will not load. If I took any model made for any game in the East, it will just not load. It has a big problem. In fact, if you even go to that Tencent website for making 3D models, it just won't load. Those models only load for systems converted and built for themselves. But if you want the FBX to load on a normal FBX HTML viewer or game engine, you have to use things like the one that I've just used, this one, Meshi. Meshi is good. The systems are compatible. This one I had to learn the hard way because I thought the issue was me, so I had massive problems trying to make this engine to work with FBX, because the FBX files have good animations and these are things that I need. So I put 1.5. So this engine, I built it, this for viewing animations in FBX files. I really needed this desperately for my work. So what you can, if you use the right click button, you orbit around the thing. If you use the other mouse, you pan. Now what happens is you load your file, then you say click load animation, and then okay, it's loaded, sorry, and then you say play animation. So it will now, so I even forgot how to use my own software. So when you put loop, it just loops the file. Now here's where it gets interesting. Instead of moving the camera up or down, you can choose to reduce the position of the player. Okay, then to know how far they are from the ground, you click here on shadows. So you see, so far so good. Now the thing is that you've noticed the materials is not too perfect, but it's fine, because what I'll use it for, I'll activate on my engine something called, under materials, there's something called constant, and you see that's what it does. It gives it this nice, especially if you're looking at the model from a distance. I'm fine with it, I have no problem. The only disadvantage is it won't have reflections, refractions, or what is the third thing, or shadows, which is fine. I can live without that. It'll just add more problems in the engine. So yeah, so now here's the thing. If I wanted to make the image look like a retro game, I can deactivate it back to phone, and then I can add here pixel effect. I can reduce the so it looked like then I can increase the intensity of the light, so the game will look like a PSX game. So if you want to, you can add a second light. Let's first of all, so what happens is when you reduce when you increase the pixelization, it solves the problem of the materials. Because what happens is you notice the material when you don't add pixelation, see it's like that, you might see lines on the body. Another thing is you can deactivate anti-aliasing, so it's much sharper, so the engine goes even more faster. And then yeah, so what else the engine can do is lighting. You can change the color. So for example, if it's a sunset, let's say you can do a sunset, let's say she's in a light club or somewhere like a red light district, she's walking, and then you see the lights like that, and then yeah, and then you can change the position of the light depending on what you are seeing is. So what I'll do is I'll literally render it physically, but if I wanted to export the frames, I come here, export image sequence, and then it exports. So one more thing I wanted to say was that you see when you're doing it as a game, you can set the rotation here, turn it the other way. So this one you can just set back to 0. What else? So scale, I've already done that. What else can we do here? I think that's the major thing. So yeah, so and the last thing is just export. When you export the frames, it'll export the ground and the 200 is done. So what it has done, so this one is going to be used specifically for in the game section, because you'll need it as a sprite, but I won't be using this much if I'm not using it as a sprite. So for example, if you open, let's use what do I use, where is this thing? It's supposed to go open with legacy, but it's fine. There's one more thing, because what should happen, it should load with transparency, but I don't think this thing, okay, it's still loading, must be heavy. Okay, so this is the image. So what happens, the background is actually transparent, so there you can put your sky, you can composite your sky, you can composite your sky, what else, your clouds, whatever you want to do. But if you want to make her transparent completely, what you do, there's an option here that you can come and hide the ground. Where is the ground? Here it is, visible. You can hide the ground, and then you re-render everything again. So what will happen is now she'll be completely transparent. Then the best thing, you can render whatever angle or direction you're looking for. This is going to be very important for my upcoming projects. It's going to be very important. But meanwhile, we can put this to constant. Yeah, I think it looks amazing. It's going to work for what I need it for. As I said, I don't want big files. I just don't want an Unreal Engine. I'm having a massive problems understanding and mastering that thing, and I have no equipment, time, effort, or even patience to learn all that again, because I know I would if I was going somewhere. But if I'm not going anywhere, it didn't make any sense to do that. So for now, although I know I can sit down and focus on that, I can just say what I'll do. One is learn from the beginning, going up slowly, make a masterpiece, and then we see where we move it from there. Let's say we move step by step until we get to where we need to go. I'll stop the video there. I'm very happy with this. I can see that Meshi is starting to learn how to put faces correctly. It's not perfect, but I'm happy with it. I'll take it. So yeah, we'll see how this thing goes. I'll catch you in the next video. Be safe and bye bye.